Welcome to Beauty at the Door, where we discuss beauty in life's toughest times. I am your host, Crystal West, and today our special guest is Gloria Day.
Hi.
Today we are going to discuss her journey as a caregiver for a parent with dementia. Gloria, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good. So let's introduce you a little bit. Tell us anything you want to know. It could be
Yeah.
something crazy, weird. It doesn't. I mean, not weird, but
Yeah, just something fun.
Yeah.
Well, again, my name is Gloria. I am a caregiver, but my heart's desire, my heart's love is art. So I'm an artist, an illustrator, a writer. Yeah, that's just like me.
I mean, but that's awesome. And we are actually going to tap into that toward the end of the show. Alrighty, so let's jump into it.
Yeah.
So you are a caregiver. Your mom has dementia.
Yes.
And just to give like a little clarity between dementia and Alzheimer's, because I literally did not know. Can you just kind of explain what dementia is?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm no like medical professional,
right?
But,
like disclaimer,
right? Yeah. But as I've gone through this caregiving journey, my understanding is dementia is more of like an umbrella term, right? It's like a general term for just the condition, like the memory loss. Alzheimer's is like a specific disease up under that type of dementia.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mom was diagnosed in 2018 with something called Lewy body dementia. There are other forms of dementia, but like this one specifically has certain characteristics, like certain like types of paranoia. The major thing was more of like it comes in waves. So in the beginning, she would have kind of like up days and down days where you really couldn't predict when she would be having like these really tough days, like this really strong memory loss.
So was this pre-diagnosis or?
This was like right in the heart of it, kind of like mid to late. So they do break, I guess like different cognitive diseases, as many different diseases, like in the early, mid, and late stages. So like we have been in this mid stage for at least 4 years. It just drags itself out. It's even known as the long goodbye. So it's like
that's what they term it as.
And it's
God,
accurate. It's so accurate because I mean, this is the only disease that I'll just say condition that I've dealt with like head on. So things like cancer, I understand like you can live with that for like a while, but usually that happens pretty quickly, if someone is like from diagnosis to, maybe passing from it. But like dementia can go on for 10 years, 15 years. And it's like, whew, you have said goodbye to the person as you once knew them, but they are still here. So it feels like this long, extended goodbye. So that's my understanding of the phrase, the long goodbye. But yeah, and towards the middle stage of it all, that's when I saw kind of like, oh, mom does remember. She's getting better. And it's like, no, wait, she's not getting better. This is just the flow of this specific.
It was like riding away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So at what age was she diagnosed?
So she's 75 now. So I believe she was 69 when we like were able to get an official diagnosis from her doctor saying like, yeah, according to this score on this test, we can say that you are actually experiencing.
Yeah. So what were some of the symptoms? Like what made you guys even go be like, what, mama tripping, something ain't right?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because when people, start to get older, people think, oh yeah, that's just old age. And it's like, now I'm so careful to be just like, there's such a difference, like
oh wow,
young people can forget where their keys are. What I noticed in my mom is just straight up mixing up of things.
Oh, okay.
Almost like confusion versus forgetfulness.
That's the difference. Yeah, when you put it that way, that makes it make a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah. So what do you know? Was she aware? Was it, or did she think that she was operating normally and you guys were like?
Yeah, I think she was not aware of something happening to her. Now, my grandfather, her dad, did experience some of the same symptoms. But I don't think she was like, oh no, the same thing is happening to me. She just probably was like, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm getting old, just making excuses for what she saw happening. My first experience with it was I was still living here. I did move to Atlanta, but I ended up coming back here. But prior to that move to Atlanta, my mom was always speaking in the church, very active in church.
Okay.
And the night before, she was at the table, like with all of her notes, just getting this little talk ready. And prior to that incident, she was always good to go. She had her notes, her like highlights, everything like ready. Okay?
Ready for the world. Yeah.
And so she prepared that night. And the next day was Sunday. And she got up in front of, the congregation to speak. And she was okay for like maybe a couple minutes. And then it's almost like, I will never forget this moment because it's something that came over her where she was so lost in her own notes. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to be just like, I can't read my writing, or I'm forgetting what I need to say.
Yeah, let me find my space.
Yeah,
she just
was like she was stuck on a loop. It was like, I'm reading this, and then she was trying to make sense of what she was saying, and then she was like, no, wait, okay. Like in the middle of this talk.
Oh, so did you have to be like, wait a minute, y'all, let me go there and get her something right?
It wasn't like a health scare because this was something that...
No, I mean like in that moment, did you run up there and was...
Okay. It wasn't like, because it was something I noticed was off, but I think if anyone is at, some kind of talk or even like giving a sermon, some people kind of, get nervous or whatever. And they just say, it's okay. Just let her,
Yeah.
So there wasn't any type of like, this is like a medical emergency. It was just like, something's not right. That's what I thought to myself. Something's not right. And this is like, I'm not sure what's going on, but this is not mom. She got through it. She totally got through it.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question. Was she able to get through it?
She got through it, and round of applause and all that. But that's when I was like, that's the point where I always come back to when I knew something is about
going
to,
on.
Something's about to change.
Okay. So at that moment, were you still in Atlanta? Or
I was here.
You were here.
So that happened.
Oh, that was before the move. You said, okay. I'm sorry. Look,
no,
get it right.
Timeline.
Okay. So then, when you moved back, was it for her?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened at that point? And I'm asking these questions because I know some people have parents right now, and they might be, like, ooh. Is this the same thing?
Right.
So what was your, I guess, not necessarily breaking point, but what was it where you was like, you know what? I gotta go back home.
Yeah, so when I noticed something was wrong, I had already like made plans to like leave the city of St. Louis. I was here for like, just a short time.
Yeah.
And when I noticed something was wrong, it was almost like I was not in denial, but like intentionally ignoring it. I was like, nope, I'm not. I already had my plans. I'm moving out the city.
Like, baby, this is not the time for this. Exactly. I got stuff to do.
Exactly. I was like, because my sister, who's younger, she lives here. She's, settled in. She's got her family, her children, just like, her family going on here. And so I was like, it's fine. Like, mom will be here with you. I was already living out of the state prior to that. Like my mom and my sister, like they already had this, what I saw as just like this comfortable, they figured it out, living life in
so I can leave because y'all got this covered.
Y'all got it. Like I believe in y'all. Y'all got it.
Yes.
And so I left, and that was 2018. Started a teaching job in Atlanta. Like was just having, just a great time. And then it was, I think it was 2020, but like
during the pandemic.
But it was like prior, like January, February.
Before it really
before everyone was like, ooh, here we go.
Yeah.
Because my sister was actually pregnant with her son, and so she was focused on that. But mom just kept getting like gradually worse, and I could hear the exhaustion in my sister's voice. I don't know if it was just like a rough day. I think I heard the kids in the background.
That would have did it for
me. And
I
just thought like, she's just having a tough time. But I could just hear like, this is too much. Here I am in Atlanta, just feet kicked back. I was,
living a good
adulting,
life.
But I was still like just enjoying my life.
Yes.
And I was like, this isn't okay. I don't know if it was like the older sister thing that kicked in, but I was like, wait a minute, it's time to just hop back into reality. And I was like, okay, here I come. It's time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it really came down to more of helping my sister more than like I want to go help my mom.
Okay, yeah. Now that's interesting that you say that, because in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go here and help my mom. But no, I'm about to relieve my sister. Yes. Not even think, okay.
Yeah. And that may be the case for some people. And I've seen this more and more where people end up caring for parents that they don't necessarily have the best relationship with.
I have seen that a whole lot.
It happens a lot.
Yes.
It is tricky. It's challenging because
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, okay?
It is challenging,
so when you well, let's talk about it then. So when you came back, did you have to move in? Well, wait, I'm sorry, before I go there. What was y'all's relationship like? It was just like I'm pretty sure it wasn't like, just from hearing you, it wasn't the typical mother-daughter, oh my God, like how her and your sister may have been. It might have been, it sounds like it may have been a little strained. So with it being strained, did you have to come and move in with her?
Yeah. So
Gloria,
it was
Jesus.
interesting. Yeah. Like, and there was a little, let me break it down. So I thought mom was going to be able to come live with me in Atlanta. We did try that out.
But she probably was unfamiliar with.
She was. Because, like, again, the progression of this condition is so gradual. One day you think that, it's like, this is going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And then they have like an episode or something and you realize, no, they actually can't be left alone. No, they don't know how to operate the stove. Like, you just realize how you pictured it in your mind is not really realistic.
Okay.
So she came down to Atlanta with me for like a month. And then I brought her back here.
So wait a minute. What happened in Atlanta where you were like,
yeah. So
I'm not laughing at it, but you saying like, yeah, I get it. Okay.
She could not be left alone.
Yeah.
I was at a point where I could like run to the store or run an errand and it would be okay. But there was a day where I had to go to work for like an extended meeting, and it was like a full 8-hour like workshop.
Yeah.
Again, I was teaching, and when I got home, nothing happened. She didn't burn anything. Nothing, she didn't hurt herself. But she was in the middle of such heavy emotion. She was like talking about my dad, who's still living, but they've been divorced since I was young, and she was just like talking about like. She was just having a tough time like calming herself down.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't there to say like, hey, everything's okay, like everyone's
so it probably
fine.
made it feel the intensity behind those feelings probably was 10 times worse because nobody
was there to be like, actually, no, everything is okay. Just come sit down, have some water, And so it was like me not being able to just go to her whenever she would have a little moment. That was just like, that would cause me stress. Like I couldn't just leave the middle of my classroom,
to go home. No, that's
So
it's real.
Yeah. So I just realized like, okay, this was a cute idea. She really liked Atlanta. I mean, I was in a cute little neighborhood. We were walking and doing all the, fun stuff. But I was like, when the school year starts up, I don't have anybody here in Atlanta who could come sit with mom. And I was like, oh, we're going to have to go back home. And she was talking about my sister and the grandkids. She wanted to be back
she missed
here.
them too. So, okay. So when you guys got back to St. Louis, you moved in with her.
We were all in one cozy house.
So wait, was it you, your sister, your
we got the mom. We got me. We got my sister, her kids. And we were all in my mom's townhome, so not even like a big home, big enough, but it was
that's a change for everybody, even the kids. I'm pretty sure that they probably were happy to have everybody, but I know they probably could tell stuff has changed. Like you got a lot of women in one house.
There's a lot of people in here, and I was just one person. But the thing is, again, they had their own situation, right? It was already a full house. But my presence in the house, first of all, I didn't even have a room. Like all the rooms were full. So I ended up making the living room kind of this makeshift room.
Correct. Okay.
Oh, when I tell you, just the absence of a door is...
privacy.
Yeah, it was like really...
Oh, and you got these kids running around. Oh, child. And you love your nieces and nephews, but baby, listen, when it's time for auntie to get away and I want to be by myself and I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, so they probably weighed on your mental.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because that wasn't the plan. I mean, I don't know if you're hearing like the thread of, similarity here, but like plans fall through when it comes to these types of things, especially like caring for a parent. You know what I mean? It's like you think you're going to do it one way and then you realize that's not how it's going to work. I thought I was going to come to St. Louis and get my own little apartment, but that just didn't happen, And so, that's how I ended up at the house and until I could figure it out, you know what I mean? So we were in that house for a good stretch of time.
Yeah.
And that was like 2021. So like,
so it's still, we gotta be around each other because it's like in the nitty gritty of the pandemic. Oh my goodness.
It's like flashbacks, like, oh my goodness.
Right, I know, right? I'm having them for you.
Oh my goodness.
So at what point did you become the primary caregiver?
So in, I want to say August of 2022.
Okay.
Or maybe 2023. I went ahead and got my own apartment. I was like,
baby, enough.
I was trying to like give time to, maybe let my sister and her family move out or just figure things out. But I was like, for my sanity, I like my nieces and nephews were jumping on the couch and, they're great kids, but they're kids. They need room to move around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love you all. I know this is a temporary situation, but I've got to look out for me. It just became to be too much. And you have to like, no, you don't want to get up to your breaking point, but definitely don't let yourself get to that breaking point because there's
create a boundary.
Else. Yeah, there's
because
no one
otherwise,
else
because I'm like, Mama, you on your own, sister, your kids, everybody leave me alone. I'm back there.
Yeah.
So I listen. I completely understand that. So. Earlier you mentioned the episodes and what can you like go into, and I don't want to say this is a dark place because I don't, when we say beauty after dark, it's not necessarily where it's dark and it's just you just in just this bad. I mean, sometimes you are, but I don't, because when it comes to a relative, you don't want them, and if they see it, you don't want them to be like, oh, this was a dark space. But in essence, it really is because it's something that you have to go through, and it was a tough time. So what tough time, or during those episodes, like what has she done where it's like, oh my God, this is bad, and mentally for you stressed about it? Like, can you give us some of those episodes?
Yeah, there were definitely days where like things seemed to be worse. The characteristics I was mentioning about Lewy body dementia.
Yes,
there was a stretch of time where she was like the little light that comes on a TV, like even if it's off, it's like, like the little red light or just something like, because it's connected to a power source. She would see this tiny little light and think that someone was like watching her or like somebody was looking at her. Yeah. The blinds started like literally breaking because she was always in the blinds thinking someone was going to come like get her. She wasn't like afraid all day every day, but she just lived in this state of like, something's wrong. Did I pay the bill? Are they gonna come get me? Meanwhile, like the rest of the family is like, Mom, it's okay, like just relax. But for me, because I'm still a caregiver, so like my dark, to me, my challenging days, I'm still in the middle of it.
Yes.
But I will say this, I had to have a moment where I fully surrendered everything to God.
Okay.
That was like my heaviest point, because when I first came here, I thought I could somehow like come in and save the day. I knew I didn't have the cure for Alzheimer's or dementia, but I just thought, maybe if I come in and maybe change Mom's dietary, like her diet,
and then it would just fix that.
or just something like get her on a different medication, just come in and just fix things, which I had done in the past, not to like label myself a hero, but sometimes older siblings or even just whoever it is in the family, they will take on that role, like the fixer of the family, the hero of the family, and you run into something like this and you realize, I don't got it. I don't have the answer. I don't have the nothing.
So then you have to like, okay, God, where you at? Because sir, you the only person that come down here and fix this.
Surrender.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the very beginning of, it was still a tough time. Like this has been such a journey, but that was the point where it's like I was able to just say, okay, this dark moment is not mine. I'm not going to be trapped in this like box of despair or just, you know, I was like, okay, something's going to change, and it's not going to be because I did it, you know? So, but yeah, I sometimes say like caregiving used to be the like heaviest thing. It's no longer the heaviest thing. It's the hardest thing, but it's no longer the heaviest
thing. Yeah. So, I mean, once God, listen, what did he say? My burden is light, my yoke is easy. I might have had those backwards, but
right, we know what you mean.
Right, y'all know. Yeah. I'm always misquoting something on this show, but I mean, hey, y'all know what I'll be trying to say. So, okay, so what about? And I'm asking this because I've heard of things like, especially like when they go to the restroom. And I think it might even been you that told me this. Was it one night where I think she went to the bathroom, but you had to get up because she didn't necessarily clean it up the way that it should be. So when, I'm sure that happened more than once.
Yeah.
With you, how does that? Because I mean, it's like cleaning up after an adult. So, and I'm bringing these situations up just because I know there are people out here, and how are you getting through with it? I know you gave it to God, but there's outside of giving it to Him, we have to do our part.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about?
Yeah, for sure. So when we did get that apartment where it was just me and her, and I was completely on my own taking care of mom, that is when I started to notice these bathroom incidents where she would go to the restroom, and then sometimes, you know, even just like leaving the water running. It's not the worst thing, but it's you know, it's running. But then there would be times where the toilet paper would not be put in the toilet. It would be like in her hand, and it would go like with her to the bathroom. I mean, back to the bedroom. So it's
okay, so now that part, I did not know that part. I knew I knew we talked about this before, but I didn't know that she would have it in her hand. I thought it was just, you just got to go in the bathroom and clean up after her. But this is like, no, she has it, and
she is. And I can say now that, because I've heard, you know, I've connected with a lot of different caregivers, and the more stories you hear, the more you realize, okay, this is not just my loved one.
Yes.
So that type of thing.
And it probably make it easier for you. Does it? Because to me, I'll be a little relieved. Like it's still, I still had to go through this, but it's still like, okay, I know I'm not doing this on my own. Like, yes, I'm here by myself, but other people are dealing with this.
Yeah. Okay. There are two parts to that. One, I'm not dealing with this on my own, and two, you're finally able to like kind of determine or decipher between my mom and then the disease or the condition. Because me and my sister would be just like, oh, this is just mom, she's always anxious, she's always worried about something, she's always this. And it's just like, no, actually, this is not just mom, she's struggling with this part of the condition. So even that, like holding on to toilet paper, I used to think maybe she's having trouble with her hands, like she's not aware that she's holding something. But then I would read like all types of toilet paper stories like, about just hoarding toilet paper. Like I don't even know what that's about.
Right. But it happens.
It is a thing. It is a thing where I feel like someone needs to set up like a specific fund for caregivers and toilet paper. Because
it's
first of all, it's not cheap. I mean, it's toilet paper, but it adds up. And
especially if and then you can't just go back and put it in the restroom. Like I'm not about to reuse it. Right.
I don't know what's happened to this. It's clean, but I still don't know. I want it to be untouched. And you know.
So wait a minute. Now that when you just said that it's clean. So when she would hold it, it wasn't her wiping herself.
Sometimes it would be. But sometimes it was like, so even now, like her thing is just taking it off the roll, folding it neatly, and then she just carries it. So I'm thankful that now it's not dirty or soiled, but I'm like, would you, because I'm not going to use that.
Still,
this is going to go in your stash, and we're going to pull from this next time I do have a chance to come help you, you know? Yeah.
So you found a way.
I did. I'm proud of myself a little bit. Like,
look, it just hit me. I'm like, oh, so you fixed the problem, and you didn't stress out. You know, it wasn't like, you know what, because I can't fix that, let me fix this. Listen.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm proud of you too.
And I will not take credit, because I'm telling you, like, there are moments where you're just like, okay, I could have figured that out, but some things that came to me, you know, oh my goodness, just like the level of like, I would have never thought of that. Or just like, it's not the end of the world. What we're going to do is save the toilet paper for the next time. Because there was a point where I used to get so frustrated
I can imagine
about this toilet paper. But really what it is you're upset that this person is not behaving the way you want them to. The old version of themselves is so clearly gone. And it just kind of explodes when they do something small like that, which is just it's just not normal for what they would usually do. So it's like, yep, it's just a little bit of toilet paper, but like, oh my goodness, Mom, can the old you please come back? She's not coming back. And you just have this like meltdown over these 3 squares of toilet paper, right? So, but yeah, things like the toilet paper, and then also my aunt would come by and visit, and she would be like, oh, this is cute little setup, but where's everything at? And I had to explain, like, we can't leave the soap and the toothpaste or lotion out,
get in it.
Yeah, well, like mix it up. So it's just like, if you're not careful, the toothpaste becomes the lotion, and the lotion is the soap, or the lotion is like shampoo.
I'm so ignorant to the situation. I'm thinking you saying she gonna get in it like the toilet paper, but she'll mix it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the reason why I think caregiving is such a like a mental health thing, meaning like how it can really try your mental health.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Is because you are constantly like having to deal with things that you didn't think were possible. It's like you don't know what to expect on any given day. You think that you've conquered.
Every day is different.
You think you figured out, okay, I'm gonna, just leave the soap out, and all we're gonna have out is the soap. If you have one thing, you're gonna wash your hands, and that's it. But then it's like, now you use the soap, and I look in your hair, and it's got something in it, and I'm like, Mom, is that?
What is you? Yeah.
And then I just happened to catch her one day going to use the soap, and then she like wants to like put some product in her hair,
and she used the soap. Okay.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay. Yeah. Small problem, but again, it's just something that I've got to kind of protect you from.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it's just constantly like just your mind is just trying to be 3 steps ahead.
And that's probably hard.
It is.
Because then you start thinking, like, now you said you didn't think about things. Well, that these things may not happen, things that you never thought about before. And so does that make your mind start just thinking of every type of situation? So what do you do as a caregiver to alleviate that?
I have had to just, number one, recognize it as a control issue. Not everyone is controlling, but I tell you what, as a caregiver, I have recognized my like need for like structure and control.
Okay.
And so it's like, if the bathroom doesn't look a certain way, or if Mom doesn't sleep a certain amount of hours, or, it's like, you have to be okay with that. Because I was realizing like no one was making me feel this way. I was making
yourself feel this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, if you just sit down for a minute and be like, what am I actually stressed out about? Like, Mom is safe.
Yeah.
She's not walking out the door, which was a thing. So I'm glad that changed. She didn't walk out the door, but she would try to get out the door.
Oh, because I was about to say, wait a minute, let's talk about that episode now. Yeah. But she would try, and you had to, okay.
Yeah, there was a point, and I'm just so thankful because I can now say, like, she used to do that. Like, before I thought it was like, oh, we're here at this stage, and this is what we're going to have for the rest of the time. But, like, that has changed.
That's good.
Because I used to have cameras in the house just to see like if she did make it out the door, the alarms on the door. But one of these ideas came to me where she would always look for her shoes and then be ready to, head out the door.
Okay.
And I started hiding her shoes at night, like just in the closet, just somewhere out of sight.
Yes.
And that would buy me enough time, because she would be like, well, I can't go for a walk if I don't have my shoes. So she would start looking for her shoes, and I'm like, I hear her moving around.
So you already knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I can hear her. First it's like, oh no, she's already out the door. It's like I could hear her kind of fumbling around, or it would set the little, sensor off.
The sensor off. Okay, yeah. But that is amazing. Yeah. So people listen to the Holy Spirit, listen to whatever is coming in your head to solve these issues. And I think that that's wonderful, because I've talked about emotions. Like, I talk about it all the time, but to even sit and back and just look and be like, let's analyze this. Because me getting frustrated is not going to help the situation. Let me figure out either let me figure out what I'm feeling. Now that I know what I'm feeling, how do I not even control it, but how do I release this so I won't feel this way? But I also I need to feel this emotion so I can know when it comes up again, how to tackle that. Right. So like with the shoes, me just listening to you, it'll be like, I know she's looking for her shoes, so I don't get frustrated from it no more because I already know what's about to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that is awesome. And just to see someone else just know how to just let me sit and reflect. What are we feeling? What are we going to do? Let's not get frustrated. I think that is amazing because do you know how hard it is? Well, you know how hard it is. And I think I'm just leaning into my own situation previously, just getting to that point. I think that I'm just here to tell you that is beautiful to even get to that point because it took me forever to get to that point, to be like, wait a minute, let's not get pissed off real quick. Let's figure this out.
Overcome by your emotions.
Yes.
Like that's a victory in itself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because they'll swallow you up. You know, like you go through life and you're just like, oh, I'm just kind of angry, or oh, I'm just kind of bitter. And it's like one emotion. But if you find yourself in a situation where like every emotion that you feel is just like taking you out, like whether it be frustration or anger or sadness, any of that, you're like, I have got to be able to sit in front of these emotions and be like, first of all, what's causing it? And you're not the boss of me. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
right. You like, literally have to talk to that emotion their way. Like, all right, now fear, anger, like we're not doing this. Like, now I know what it is, recognize it, and we move on. Okay. With dealing with the emotion of all of that and being the caregiver, the strained relationship, doing things with your family, your sister, you know, all of that. What encouraging words would you give to someone that's in your situation, or not just necessarily in your situation? Because I know you said you talk to other people who deal with it, but their situation is different. Yeah. But it's still dealing with being a caregiver. Are there any encouraging words, situations, just anything to give someone to keep on keeping on?
Yeah. It's interesting because like when I first started, I would hear the things that I'm about to share. But when you're first starting out, you're just like, okay, take time for you. Okay, whatever that means. And it's like, no, now I understand you have to do that. The thing is, like,
do you feel selfish when you do that? Because I know some people are great with taking time for themselves. Like, then there's other people that might feel like, oh, I'm being selfish. I can't do this.
Yeah, I don't feel selfish when I ask for that.
I mean, I'm sorry, not good like that, but good.
No, but it's good because some people will be like, I don't like. It's okay. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's number one. But the second thing is, I wasn't feeling selfish. I felt like I was putting a burden on somebody else. Like, I was the only one who was supposed to be struggling in this whole thing, you know? And it's like, okay, this is not for you to take on by yourself.
Correct.
And you will hear that again and again, especially at the beginning as a caregiver. But like, I don't know what it is. It might be a pride issue. It might be a guilt issue. Whatever thing that's telling you that you are bothering somebody when you ask for help, that will just tear you down. That will be the first thing to take you out, because it's like this belief that you have to do something on your own, whether you're a parent, whether you're an educator. Like, even as an educator, I knew like I still had a team behind me. If I didn't know how to teach a lesson or like work with a certain student, I always had somebody else to lean on. So it's like, why would I think that's any different with something like this? You know, it's like, I know nurses, and even if I don't, it's like, let me get out there and say, is there anyone who can just come sit with mom for a couple hours, you know, and just be okay with asking that, you know? But I even like, as I walked out the door to like maybe go get some groceries or something, I would still have to deal with that feeling. But I would be like, we're going to feel that and just keep it moving. We're not going to, again, not get like stuck in that.
Yes, we're not going to dwell in that feeling. Yeah.
Right. So that is I guess I could say that's the word of encouragement. Is like, wherever you are in caregiving, or if you find yourself in this situation, let yourself feel the things, but don't let that keep your feet stuck. Like, keep going out for walks, keep going, take yourself out to eat. If you go to church, keep going to church. If if you need to just go take a nap in the other room, do that. But just don't feel like, I feel X, Y, and Z, so I'm just stuck here. Because that will kick off depression, and other mental health things that are like serious, because your mind starts to think this is going to be like this forever. There's no hope. And that's where you don't want to find yourself. That's like, I see it now as a lie of the enemy, like, or however, if you're spiritual or not, but like, you just can't believe that this will not change or this will not get better. Because that's for anything in life. When you start to believe that, that's when you find yourself in a dark place.
And then you got to come up out of her, and then you'll be a guest on this show. Telling us what you did.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show. I do want to tell everyone all about the other side of Gloria. Outside, she is more than a caregiver. She has written a book. These 2 games. I'm going to let you tell about it. I'm excited, so go ahead.
Well, I am going to start first with the book, because it is what I did like for caregiving. I had to lean on writing. And that's what this was. I mean, like, anytime that I would like find myself just completely a mess, like crying or praying or just not knowing what to do in any given moment, I would always turn to poetry. That's just like how I just express myself in general. So with this,
I've heard your poems. Okay. They are bomb.
I appreciate it. But like, this was kind of like my line of communication with God. Like, we were just, my relationship kept growing stronger and stronger. I was hearing the Holy Spirit more and more. And that was like through poetry. So I had a lot of poems. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about sharing them with anybody. It was just a way to, feel better. And then eventually I had, just this like urge or like sense that I should probably put these out or like turn it into a book or at least share. So I ended up doing a poetry reading about, with these poems. And so now I have this book. It's called It Will Change You for the Better.
And where can I get that book?
This is on Amazon. This is also
I will
website
put the link in the description.
So this is like when you do like a poetry book, you can have like 100 poems, you can have a good solid collection. This is considered a chap book, which is like a shorter version of a poetry book. This is a shorter version of a full poetry book, but these are just poems that just really capture moments that I went through, and I do wholeheartedly believe that this has changed me for the better. Has it been easy? No, not at all. But like, looking back on that first day where I was just like suitcase and all the bags and just rolled up in here, I was like, wow, like more patience, more strength, more faith, more trust, more just,
it made
more
you all together better.
It's making me into the version of the person that I know I guess want to be. I just wouldn't have chosen this route.
Yes.
Yes. Like, if I could have just picked this up and put it on.
Listen, instead of going through all the hard letters, just take the easy route. You know what I mean?
So it really would have only, I believe, taken something like this for me to change in certain ways. So it has changed me for the better. Like, this is the thing that actually led to that change.
Well, that's awesome.
So the poems are in here.
And we will link that in the description.
I could read one.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let me just see what we got here. I'm gonna read. I want to read one. Okay, actually,
do you know what order they in?
So it is kind of like chronological. So I do start like mentioning that first incident in church, and then it leads to like where I am now. So it is kind of like
cool. Because I'm like, girl,
come on now. It's not the full story, but it's just these like really clear checkpoints.
That I are necessary. Well, look, so that you have the floor.
So I did share just that incident where I noticed something was off, right? When mom was talking in church, and that became a poem. So with these poems, there are little intros, but if you pick up the book, you'll be able to read that part. But I'll just go straight into the poem. And it's called Sunday. At church, Mother was dressed in white, always. At least that's how I remember it. It was her hero's cape. I think she felt powerless without it. Church was her safe space. She could rescue others with her kindness and touch the sky with her devotion. But this particular afternoon, I watched as the wind caught the tail end and sent her spiraling. I sat in the splintered pews only a few feet away. Mom was forgetting not just how to speak, but also how to read. Her perfectly crafted notes from the night before. Sunday, how could you? You were the one day that made her feel like she mattered. And now you're letting her down in front of all these people who came here to hear her speak. Up high in front of a microphone, as she had done many times before. But that Sunday afternoon, I watched the sunlight from each stained glass window fade into an uncomfortable, dim shadow. She was grasping for complete sentences. I was gasping for air. This was too much, but it confirmed what I knew. Mom, where are you going? Sunday, how could you? Something wasn't right. Someone I knew so well was fading. So that's Sunday.
I feel like that was just knowing the story, and then you read like that. I could feel the emotion behind that. And then Sunday, like, how could you?
Right, because Mom was Miss Sunday, like had the white dress on with the white little, like, we grew up in church choir, just all types of, just very involved, very much with a servant heart. And this was like the day that like really shaped who she was as a woman. And it just so happened that this was the same day, the same moment, the same place where she had all this, just confidence and just joy. It turned into this place where it's like, that's where her breakdown happened. And it was like,
ain't that crazy?
It was an interesting like contrast. But that also, there's kind of like this underlying anger at God in a way, it's like anger at Sunday, but it's like, I think that picks up on this very subtle thing, like, oh, come on, like, God, why are you letting this happen? So, and even if that does happen as a caregiver, if you find yourself doing the same thing, like, just let that out too. You
have to. You have to. Okay.
Thanks for letting me share.
All right. I'm glad. I didn't even think about you sharing one. I'm happy that you did though, because that brought like you can feel it. You know that you're not just writing this like, well, I want to make some money. Like you feel, and it just make you want. Y'all better go out and get. I'm going to actually buy one today. Okay. So next up, the card.
So and this kind of falls in line with like the same thing where, as a caregiver, you have to stay connected to who you are. Like, it's so easy to be like, I'm too tired to write. I don't feel like it. I don't feel inspired anymore. My life isn't set up the way I want it to be who I am. But it's like, now you got to like stay connected to you. So, again, I'm a writer, I'm an illustrator. These, I created these before I became a caregiver, but now I'm leaning back into it. Like, I had like just like a my little business in Atlanta. I had my my website. I still have the website, but it was just something that I was really excited about before I started caregiving. And as soon as I came here, I'm telling you, like, all these cards went in boxes under the bed. I didn't even think about it, and I was like,
bigger fish to fry.
I just had to, like, it was kind of sad, but it was like this moment where I saw maybe other caregivers like still connecting with who they are, like whether it would be like through fitness or even doing their own social media things.
So you didn't have to lose yourself just because you became this you. Okay, not. I got you.
I get it though, because you can drown in it. So for a minute there, you're just like, I'm just trying to survive. But once you catch your breath, be like, what were those things that made me feel like a person? Because caregiving will take that from you. Okay. The things that make the gifts that you have, excuse me, they're still there. They don't go away when you become a caregiver. So keep writing, keep drawing, keep singing, keep, planning an event. Like, it may be just one.
But do that. Whatever makes you feel.
Picnic, even if your care recipient, your loved one is there, like, just do something.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, do something. Go go to an art museum. I just go to the art museum and just walk around and be around art because
they make you feel it's you. Yeah. Okay.
So like this is just, I'm getting back into putting my honesty cards out there. I do have honesty cards for adults and also the ones for kids. So, for example, these are just, simple conversation starters.
Can we do one now?
Yeah. So I pulled a couple out.
Okay. All right.
So for the adults, these are like literally like a deck of cards, 52 cards with questions. They can be used for journaling, like on your own, or like in a crowd, or not a crowd, but like a social setting. Or just like with your partner or your friend, like whoever, or a complete stranger. I don't know what your life looks like, but whatever you're doing. And you want to, just get the honesty going. This is what they are.
So am I pulling one? I can see. Am I supposed to see the bottom of it? Because I can see it.
Oh, so these are the designs, but then the questions are on the.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, girl, we're cheating already. Okay.
And it's like
I'm excited, like a kid.
There are plenty of things like this. Like there are a lot of people who have created cards at this point in time. So there's like different things for like couples or even for Christians. So it's like everyone's cards are going to be unique in their own way. So it's not necessarily a game. These are just questions that are near and dear to my heart.
So I'm a little too excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm sitting there like, come on, what are we doing?
The wheel is like, Crystal, there's no wheel. There's no scoreboard. There's nothing.
Nothing, girl. Just questions.
Just questions. Okay. But I love it. I love the enthusiasm.
So you're gonna ask me?
Yeah. So
I don't get to pull my own card.
You can, but I just
you go ahead.
For, production purposes. The studio audience like, so we chose a member of the studio audience today. Like, we knew we was going to be But no, these are two questions that I did select ahead of time that I thought would be great to ask you. So that's what these are. So so if you were asked to give a TED Talk, what would it be? What would it be about? Most people do know what a TED Talk is. But just give a talk on a specific subject that you're very passionate or passionate about. So
it would be emotions.
Emotions.
I would definitely give a TED Talk on emotions. I know I've done a show on emotions already, but I would definitely I think it's so important. And that is because I deal with a bunch of different things. I talked about it on my episode. I don't have to go back over there, but my dealing with emotions is different than what you're dealing with. With the emotions, but emotions are emotions. No matter what it is, they still are there. You still have to figure out how to deal with them and not to dwell in them. So even like, just take for instance, when I got bit by a dog, but you are taking care of your mom, two completely different situations, but we both have to deal with the emotions. We have to understand what we're feeling. And I know being bit by a dog, that's anger. But you know what I mean? And then, but it could have been sadness. There was a bunch of different things, but you want to feel that. So I feel like I would teach a TED Talk on feelings and emotions, how to feel them, but not dwell in them, and how life still can go on. Like even I'm sitting here feeling mad, sad, anger, all of this stuff. Guess what, baby? Life is still going, and it's gonna go on without you. So you better figure it out. So I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I live for this. So like people will think like, oh, I'm just did I answer it correctly, or am I?
I know, because I'm like, I do it.
No, I'm just like, that is what I did this for. To be honest, my friends and I was living in LA. Newsflash, I live in a lot of different cities, but
clearly,
anyway,
yes.
We used to do this thing called a friendship trip, like once a year on my friend's birthday. And one year we were going to New Orleans, and I just had a list of questions in my phone that I wanted to ask each of them on the trip. So like, what started out as just like this random little list of questions in my little notes on my phone. Yeah, like these are questions that you like, just give me a pillow and a comfy seat.
I like
I'm just
that. I could do this with people on the show.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, now are these on Amazon too?
So these are on my website. I'm in the process of getting these on like Amazon, but the book is on Amazon and the cards are on my website.
Well, I will be getting those. So look, I'll get them at church on Sunday. What we gotta do? What's the next one? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
And well, I'm glad you asked, because the deck does come with like heavier questions or like things on the lighter side. So a TED Talk, it just shows, like maybe what you're passionate about. And you're like, I never knew that about you.
Yeah.
The other one says, which part of your body do you feel most disconnected from? Why do you think you feel this way? And so that question, you can kind of like be like, oh, we're going to go a little.
Yeah, we're going to go a little deep. And now I got to really think about that.
Right,
okay.
Yeah. And I always.
You want me to answer that? Because I don't know right now.
You can just skip that. But okay. But it just shows you the range of questions. But it's important, though, to be able to, like, number one, give yourself a minute to just sit with that, because like honesty is the goal.
Yes.
We are so quick to be just like, let me just say this answer because I don't want somebody to feel like I don't know. But, it's like, no, I don't know is perfectly fine when you're doing something like this. If that's the honest answer.
Because that was just mine. I'm like, I don't know. But if we sit here and we think about it a little bit, I'll let you know. So
yeah. Okay. So these are honesty cards. Again, these are for adults. For kids, this is something that came up when I was teaching. I was like, man, those honesty cards that I did about a year ago, like I was like, kids, I want my students to be able to have that same experience.
That's good.
So these are not as heavy.
Of course.
These are like for parents and educators to like get kids to become more comfortable with expressing their emotions and thoughts.
Okay.
So like, of course, you get the like, how was your day? And it was fine. Or maybe like a little shoulder shrug, or like, what was the best part of your day? And you get like that one sentence and you're like, all right.
Maybe I need more than that.
Yeah. But when you get it,
I'm
probably not.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they may not be like just not in the mood to talk, but they may not have the language. You know what I mean? They just don't have, even if they have the words, they may feel like uncomfortable, like saying it. So even when you do something like this, it just turns it into like, it puts the focus on the question versus like the child. Like, I have to come up with the perfect response, or I have to come up with, making it all make sense. It's like, no, I'm going to give you a question, and just, if you want to answer it. And now this is when we do like a game kind of version. Okay, this became a game. Like in the classroom.
In the classroom,
Yeah, we had like these cards up on the wall, and the kids could run up and like pick their favorite color.
Okay.
Just so it's not so, intense or heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. So same thing. They are a little different though. There are categories. So these are for ages like anywhere from 5 to 10.
Okay.
Grade level K through 5.
Yeah.
Writing prompts. If you have a student or a child that likes to write, you can have, the questions are like writing prompts versus like just speaking them.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites for this is write a feel better letter to yourself to read the next time you're having a bad day. Like,
oh girl, that needs to be in.
I know, right? Let's take this. I do need to do that. Just a little note to yourself, you know. But
I like that.
Yeah. So this is something that would be good for kids who are just more. They just like to write more. Maybe they're not so comfortable.
Well,
with,
you know,
like,
your kids. So
So that's that. And then there are some where this is the speak category. These are just not questions, but these are more like affirmations.
Okay.
You may not, like, you and your child or your student or whoever it is, may not need to answer a question that day. They may just need something to like carry with them throughout the day. So one of them says, my thoughts and emotions are important and worth sharing. Another one says, my differences may be difficult, but it's up to me to love them first.
I like, girl, put them in this adult. Listen, some of these gotta go on an adult one. Like, you know, that's awesome, Gloria. I love both of these.
Yeah. So these do have questions, but they just have other categories. Breathing exercises, because there are young ones who just sometimes they just need some guidance to come back to center.
Calm down.
But then there are the regular questions. Care.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing to do for someone you love and care about?
Oh, I like that.
It just gets you thinking about other people. So honesty cards for kids. These will have the different categories. And the illustrations are just like a little more.
And she did those herself. Yeah. Well, that is awesome. So They can get them on the website, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will link in the description.
Yeah.
I will put the link in the description for the Amazon and for her website. Well, again, thank you so much for being a guest on the show and encouraging others. Is there any encouraging words you want to leave them with, or are we good?
Oh, wherever you are, no matter where you are in your dark place or even your beauty, just keep going.
Yes.
Going.
And remember, the beauty still shines in the darkest of places. See y'all next time. Bye.